Well, good morning. It is Monday morning. Sorry. So I said in my video yesterday, actually I talked about a couple of different things. So yesterday actually did not go like what I thought it would. So apparently I did misunderstand the I want to say youth church, but that's not our kids ministry director. That would be Sister P. So I did misunderstand her. I did and I didn't. And what it was is I was originally thinking that they were going to go into the main sanctuary and do like a graduation type of thing, because the beginning of June is when everybody transitions into the next class or the next grade. So in our instances, Caleb would be transitioning to their kindergarten class, as to where Elena would transition from nursery to the pre-K. And they have it set up until at least 3rd grade. I've never really been like back there, just for the fact of I've just not really done it. You know, you check in the kids and the kids already know where their classroom is. So I'm gonna bring you a little closer, sorry, because I feel like I'm like leaning in and it's like hurting me. So I've just not ever really done it. Well, I had this whole thing of I was going to, and we were like probably about 9:45 getting there. They open up at like 9:30, and so like that's where everyone is there. So by the time we got there wasn't a lot of people checking in, because the majority of them had already checked in. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to record them getting their stickers, which is part of the security thing. They print out stickers to go on their bag that has their name and their classroom on it. And then they give me the other sticker, and I have to hand them the stickers or they can't come out. That's just the way it is. They're very, very, and I've said it before, but this church takes the security over the kids. It's like, it is like top notch, and I like that. So anyhow, excuse me. So anyhow, my plan was to record them getting their stickers and go to their classroom. I was going to watch them, be escorted to their new classrooms. I did not get to do that because we literally got 5 minutes down the road and Caleb started saying, I have to go potty, I have to go potty. And if you watch the whole video, y'all will actually hear him say, I gotta go potty. So once we got to the church, like we were rushing. Like he's holding himself, he's like, Mommy, I'm about to have an accident. He has a tiny bladder, so he can't hold it all that long. And so anyhow, my ear's itching, sorry. And so we were rushing, and so he like left me to go to the bathroom and all of that stuff. And so I didn't really get to do all of that because Caleb's in the bathroom. He's taking forever to come out, and I'm like, baby, like what's going on? Like I'm standing at the boy's door and I'm like knocking on the door and I'm like, Caleb, are you okay? All the while there are other younger boys coming out, and one little boy came out and I didn't realize he was coming out. Shh, Caleb, stop. Caleb, I said stop. Don't. So anyhow, the first one came out, and I, honest to God, because I really thought that this was like an individual bathroom. I did not know that there was like multiple stalls in there. And because again, I've never been back there, so I did not know. And so like I'm knocking on the door, and then this boy comes out, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, honey. And he's kind of looking at me like, this is the boys' bathroom. And I said, yes, yeah, I do know that. I said, I'm not coming in. I said, but my little one's in there. And yeah, he said, oh yeah, he's still going to the bathroom. He should be done in a minute. And I was like, okay. And then the other one came out, and he kind of looked at me. He's like, the other one? You waiting for the other one? I said, yeah. He said, he's washing his hands. He'll be out here soon. I was like, oh, good. Now, these are boys that are probably like, I would say probably about 8, 9 years old. So they're younger, but they were old, old enough to kind of understand. Because I'm like, hey, love, are you okay, baby? What's taking so long? And so of course they heard me. So of course, they kind of put two and two together. So they helped me, But by the time Caleb came out, Elena had already been taken to her classroom. And then Caleb went to his, and they had fun. Elena just had such a fun time. They had a small bouncy castle in the room. So it's like it's just one of those that you can have like on the inside. It's not like the huge ones that goes outside. And so they did have something special for the first day, but it was in everyone's individual classes. And I asked Sister P when we were standing there, and I was like, how is this going to work, And so she says, oh, no. She's like, I'm sorry I led you to believe that. Caleb, if you do not stop, you're not going to like me. They've both gotten into a lot of trouble this morning. They are actually grounded from TV right now. So anyhow, she's like, I'm sorry, I did not mean to make you think that they were going out there. She says, no, we just do something fun for that very first day. She's like, if Caleb would have been here when, like, June last year for his very first, or for our very first day of pre-K, he would be partaking in all of the extra fun things that we do for the very first time. She's like the bouncy castles and the donuts and all of that stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. And so I was like, oh, okay. I said, I was wanting to record it. And I pulled it out. I was like, I got my big camera. Because I'm like, that's what I was thinking. Huh? I don't know what he said. So they did not, which is why there will not be any type of video of that. Because obviously they didn't do it. They just had their own special little thing in their individual classes. And I also mentioned that I do have some more wigs coming in. I'm hoping that these will be a little bit more natural looking, especially one of them. Anyhow, I keep getting interrupted. No, ma'am. So one of them I actually do have higher hopes for. And I know a lot of y'all are probably thinking, why are you wearing wigs? You have hair. Yes, I do. I do have hair. Yes, I do have hair. And it is on, it's not long. It is not, well, the end of it's like right here. But, so yes, I do. I do have hair. And a lot of people are like, why are you wearing a wig? Because you have hair. Okay? This is my hair. Okay? This is my hair. My hair is literally this thick. Okay? And there is and I will kind of go into a little bit more of a detail about it, and I'll probably use the GoPro to do that. But just for now, there's something in the genes, our genetics, for the women in our family. It comes through my mom's biological mother side. My mom was adopted as an infant, so her biological mother, like her side, I don't know, that's where it comes from. And it's just, we end up, once we hit our 30s, we start having a lot of different problems, and one of our problems is our hair. And so yes, technically right now I do not have to technically wear a wig, but over the last couple of months I have noticed that my hair has went from this to this, and in just a few months my hair has gotten so thin to where having it in this, see how easy that was? Now I know that y'all are like, oh well, that silk is, no, if y'all saw the difficulty that I had the first time, I have to practically knot my hair up around this just to keep it from coming down. My hair is so thin, and on camera it doesn't entirely look it, but I promise you my hair is thin. It is thin. It doesn't matter what I put in my hair, it just slides right on out. I have hold on, so I even have these, and these are not supposed to come out of your hair, but even my hair, even with these, and it's got that little, it's supposed to kind of grip your hair. It's not supposed to pull out your hair, but it's supposed to make it stay. Give me the cup. Give me the cup. You're not scared. My hair just, like, I can just grab it and just pull it on out. So it's not because this is like a silk scrunchie. It's with anything. I don't care what it is. It's just because my hair has just gotten so thin to where my hair just does not stay up in anything. So it is harder for me to put my hair up. And because of how thin my hair is, I don't like wearing it down. Now, I love having my hair down. I do. But I wear it up because my hair is so thin. If I put it up, you know, I mean, it looks, for me, it looks better. And so, if my hair keeps thinning as fast as it is, most likely within the next year or two, my hair is probably going to look like Elena's. It's probably going to be about as thin, and as of right now, I'm not really losing length. I'm losing thickness. But probably within the next year or so, my hair is going to be so thin to where I'm going to start losing that length. So and of course, I'm not the only one in my family that has this problem. My oldest sister already wears wigs. She's been wearing them for a couple of years. And so I am excuse me, I am buying wigs and trying them out, different kinds, different makes. I don't know really how you say it, just because, like, just ones that are made different. Like, there are some that's called the T part and a free part and a full lace and glueless, and you know, there's a bunch of different kinds, and they're all made different. So I'm trying to get a bunch of different ones that they're all made different. or at least they're supposed to be. So I can figure out what looks good on me, what looks more natural. The one that I'm wearing, I know it does not look very natural. When I first got it, I went ahead and cut the lace off of it because I was like, oh, this looks so good. But after wearing it out and taking pictures and looking back on it through videos, the black does not. No. I should have gotten the other one, which I did originally thought I had the other one that I really wanted, which was a dark brown with like little blonde highlights through it. That's the one I originally thought I'd gotten. But I was like, oh, well, you know, it's okay. This one will work. You know, I'm not going to send it back. And no, I just, you know, I should have sent it back. But it's okay. I can still wear it, and I'm still getting a lot of compliments. Now, there are people that are asking, baby, why are you wearing a wig? You know? And it's not the fact that they're trying to be, like, judgmental or anything. It's just the fact that they see my hair like this, and then all of a sudden... And I mean, of course, you can tell, especially in person. You can look at my little messy bun, and you can tell that it's thin. And then all of a sudden, you see me, my hair color looks different because, you know, the wig's got jet black up here, and then very lighter ends. Like, you can just tell that that's not my actual hair. And the fact of, I got so much hair to where I feel like it's suffocating me. And so, like, people that have seen me, especially in the area that I sit at, they're like, baby, are you wearing a wig? Yes, ma'am. Baby, why? What's wrong? And the reason why is because automatically one of the first things that people think about when they see people wearing wigs is, unfortunately, the first thing that most people think about is cancer, unfortunately. There are a bunch of different reasons to wear wigs. That is not mine. But I do know that they are asking me because they're like, okay, baby. And so they are just asking out of, because they want to know if I have something like that, because they're going to be like, oh my gosh, okay. You know, let's find together and let us pray about this. Let's, you know. And so, you know, and there was a lady that I hadn't met. I'd not seen her before. They had actually been out of town because I was sitting in one section and I kind of moved sections and started sitting somewhere else, and they'd been out of town for a couple of weeks. And so they finally came back and she's like, hey, are you new? Hey, you new? And I'm like, no, I normally sit over there, but I started sitting over here. She's like, oh, okay. She says, honey, I'm not trying to be mean. She says, but I can tell that you're wearing a wig. You know, and you're kind of young. Why is somebody your age wearing a wig? And she's like, she says, I'm sorry. I am just a nosy Betty. She said, and like, there was like other ladies sitting and they're like turning around looking at her like, girl, what is wrong with you? Like, you can see like the terror on their faces. They're like, oh my God, what is wrong with you? And she's like, I'm sorry. I am just nosy Betty. She says, but I mean, she says, she's like, I can tell. She's like, you wouldn't believe it now. She says, but I've had cancer. I went through chemo. She's like, and I lost all of my hair. And she's like, I lost all of it. She says, by the glory of God, my hair's come back. And it's same thickness, same length as it was before. She's like, you'd never guess it. She said, so being someone who has worn them, I know what they look like. And you know, she's like, I just look and I can tell. She's like, because I've been there. I've worn them. I know what they look like on people. And she says, not only that, she's like, did you get that off of Amazon? I said, yes, ma'am. She says, I think I have that one. She's like, well, not this one. She says, but she's like, I think that was one of the first ones that I got. I just got it in a different color. And I was like, yeah, I didn't get the right color. I really didn't. I said, but I was too impatient to wear it, to where I just went ahead and I'm just going ahead and wearing it. And she's like, well, one of the things that I would suggest you doing is, she says, it's very shiny. She's like, that's kind of a first bing bang, it's a wig because it's shiny. She says, if you get some type of dry shampoo or something like that, She says, I'm not a big fan of dry shampoo. She's like, so I use baby powder. She says, if you put it up there around the roots and everything, it helps take away that shininess. I said, yeah. I said, I've heard people say that. And I said, I was going to do that this morning. I said, but we were running late. And I totally just didn't have time to do it. And so she said, you know, and of course I told her why. You know, I said, you know, my hair is thinning. And I said, my 4-year-old has thicker hair than I do. I said, I have the length, a little bit of the length. I said, but my 4-year-old's hair is about as thick as mine. And she's like, she said, well, that is a good reason. And so me and her kind of talked for a minute, and I thought it was funny because everybody is looking. I'm a little bit embarrassed about it, but after talking to my first lady, as well as some of the other ladies within the church who have had to wear wigs for some type of reason, and especially after what happened last week, and I have not talked about it, that there was an instant, like there was a situation last week when I wore the wig for the first time. And my first lady, when she saw me, her eyes lit up. She came running to me and she's like, oh my God, girl, is that your name? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, the color is off. I know it doesn't look very natural. And she says, girl, you look fine to me. She says, do you like it? Are you confident in it? I said, no, not really. She says, well, then maybe you might need to try a different one. And she's like, keep trying until you find one that you like, that you feel confident in. I said, I did order the wrong one. She's like, she said, the thing is, she says, the fact that, she says, we don't know you all that well. She's like, you're still newer to the church. She said, so who are we to know what your natural hair really looks like? She's like, and you're always wearing it up. She said, so who are we to say any different? And so, and then now somebody did try to pray for me at altar call, and they brought up my hair. And kind of find out this gentleman is not even a church member. He was actually visiting, because we had a visiting preacher last Sunday, and apparently he came to hear this preacher preach because he was a visiting, I don't know, he was just a visitor. And so, you know, and of course I was just praying, you know, like I always do, like you do at altar call. And this person comes up and they're praying for me, and they're like, bring her in and let her know that, you know, that all of these things that she's doing to her body is wrong, and you know, all of this. And he brought up my hair and, you know, coloring and all of that. And I'm sitting here going like, I instantly stopped, because I do not like it when people do that. If you're going to pray for somebody, if you know the situation, then okay, you can, you know, if God leads you to do so. But considering that that's a wig, yeah, I got the wrong color, and I knew that after I ordered it, of course, and got it. But I'm not cutting my hair. I'm not dyeing or bleaching my hair. That's a wig. It was the very first wig I ever bought, and colors is, you know, it's hard to match up your natural hair color, you know. And so, like, I instantly knew that God was not, and this is, Lord forgive me, but I knew that God was not talking to this person and telling him to tell me that, because the Lord knows that I'm not doing anything to my hair that I'm not supposed to. What I didn't realize is that there were other ladies around me, including our first, like, one of our pastor's children was around me. What I also didn't know is that the first lady had already talked to some of her children about this. Some of the older ones that's already kind of up and married. And she had her youngest one with her when she was talking to me, and she actually brought her child into the conversation, because I was like, I don't like it, and I don't feel confident, and it doesn't look natural. And she's like, baby, what you think about her hair? And she's like, oh, I love it. And so she had already talked to them and like, look, if you hear or see anything, stop it. So one of her oldest daughters was sitting there beside me, and she overheard this guy, and she literally positioned herself and kind of pushed him up out of the way. And there was several others, which I didn't realize it at the time, because, you know, I'm still putting my head down, and I'm like, Lord, help me, because I want to throw punch him, because, Lord, you know the situation. He doesn't, and obviously you're not talking to him because he's talking out of his behind. Lord, I'm not trying to talk bad or think bad about, you know, people that you have laid the ministry on. I'm not doing that, Lord. But I'm trying not to get mad here. And while I'm sitting here and I'm thinking and I'm praying this, their daughter had motioned some of the other ladies to come around, and they actually surrounded me. And he kept trying to come in, and they wouldn't let him. They eventually had to go get the first lady and tell her what was going on. And she had to put him in his place. And so like, I know that it doesn't look natural. So I'm hoping that there's one that, like I said, I have very high hopes for. I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit more my natural color. In this particular one, there wasn't a lot of color options. I try to get the one as closest to my hair color as possible, but in the pictures, it looks like it has a lot of red in it. I don't have any red in my hair. So I'm hoping it doesn't look very reddish, kind of coppery looking, because that's not me. But I try to get the brownest one, because it was like more of like blonde, black, brown, copper, like almost like blood red. I'm like, no. So and I know I'm kind of rambling, and I'm sorry, but I did tell y'all that I was gonna try to explain, and I still not really completely explained. I do need to talk to my mom and kind of ask her, tell her what I'm wanting to do, what I'm wanting to say, and see if she wants me to say certain things, because some of the certain things that I would need to say in making that type of video would require me to talk about her, and I don't know if she particularly would like me to do that. So I do need to have a conversation with my mom before I do that, because if she does not want me to mention certain things, then I'm going to have to figure out how I can go about making this video without mentioning certain things. That way I could leave her like completely out of the conversation, sort of thing. That way I wouldn't have to bring her up. Which is going to be really hard, and I'm sure she will understand that, and I'm sure she'll be okay with it. But I still need to ask her permission, and that way, just in case, you know, I don't want to upset her or make her embarrassed, or, you know, whatever the case may be. So yes, so I talked a little bit more about the wigs than what I was planning on, but anywho, there are several things that I need to do this week. One of them is I have to take my mom's little dog Friday to drop her off, because my mom is giving her up, so to speak. My mom is just not able to care for her anymore, due to several such different things, but my mom is working a lot more now, and so she's just not going to really have the time to really be there, because she's going to be working a lot with this new job that she got. So it's just not good for the dog, because the dog's going to be there pretty much, she's going to be there a lot by herself. and I don't live close enough to, you know, let her out and all that stuff. So it's just, my mom felt like it was the better thing to do, and there will be no hate on that. You know, my mom is doing what she thinks is best for her baby. You know, just somebody that can give her a little bit more, be able to spend more time with her. Which, when my mom was at home, it didn't matter. But she's going to be working a lot. Many hours during the day, at night. You know, all kinds of different things. Her schedule is constantly going to be changing. That's the thing with caregivers. Our schedule changes at a drop of a hat. And so, so it's just, it's hard to have animals with stuff like that. And if you don't have anybody close by, or, you know, somebody living in the home with you to help you when you're not there, animals is not really a good idea. So, but anyhow, it is what it is. So I get to do that Friday. So, both of my wigs are supposed to be here this week. One actually says that it was delivered yesterday. But by Wednesday, they both should be here. So I'm just going to wait until Friday to go get both of them, because I'll already be at her house. I'm just going to go get them and, you know, do the dog and all of that. Hold on a second. Sorry, Caleb is being kind of a butt, so I came into the bathroom just so I can away from him for a second. Just because all of the little things that he's doing is kind of getting on my nerves. So I came in here to shut myself off for a second. But anyhow, we're going to go do that Friday. There are several things around the house that I need to do. Also, hopefully sometime this week, I'm going to try to go by Grams's gravesite and put some flowers on her grave. Excuse me. And do that as well. So this week is going to be extremely busy. So yeah, so I actually need to get off of here. There are some things that I need to do. I need to clean up the house. Our house is completely destroyed for me not being able to do things because of just not having any energy last week. So I have to play catch up, and one of the first things I got to do is actually come in here and clean. So, because of me being sick and not having any energy, I did not clean Friday like I normally do. So yes. So, with that being said, we are off, and we will see you guys next time.